Meeting come to order. Review the minutes from March the 9th. We didn't have no quorum on April the 13th. Look for a motion to approve the minutes if there's any, if they're okay. Got a motion by Mr. Ferguson, got a second. Mr. Buckmaster. All in favor say aye. Opposed? All right, passed. Update the departments. Mr. Woodard, Chief Woodard.
We were looking at the runs. We've done approximately 84 runs as of the end of August. We got about 617 man runs. It's going to average out to about somewhere between 18 and 19,000 we've used out of our budget this time. We've also purchased our new radios. We've got all of them in and programmed. We've got new lanyards for our face pieces, new flashlights for all the personnel. Our brush truck has been ordered. Don't know a date on when we can receive a chassis yet to the manufacturer. I was waiting on that. Got two new members that have joined since we met last, Anthony Madden and Daniel Harris. We had 4 to go to pump school up in Carthage, got their certifications there. Had 1 go to live burn since we met last, and everybody'd been through their CPR research.
Excuse me, Chief Woodard, if you could turn your microphone on, I can't hear you.
All right, we've been waiting on the state to approve their revisions on the train the trainer. So it was, that was to be able to do the 16-hour, the 64-hour, and the 16-hour refresher. You had to be a state certified instructor to attend that. I've attended the first class. I have 1 more to go. And then once we get through with that, then we'll be able to teach those classes in-house, so we won't have to send our personnel off to other counties and things like that. So everything's been kind of slow at this point, waiting on the state, but we've been doing some things in-house, trying to wait on this program to kick off. So
that's good. Mr. Bailey.
Can you hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
EMS has been doing pretty well. I think last month, I forgot my paperwork because I got so many other print offs here. We did a little over 39,000 for the month, just under 100 calls. So we're running about average what we normally do, call volume wise. We still are dealing with the COVID stuff. So we're doing a lot of transfers out of the hospital here to other hospitals. Obviously there's some facility issues with over admissions and holding patients in the ER. So we're doing a lot of inter-facility transfers right now. And other than that, we're staying the course pretty much on our normal operations.
Anybody got any questions for either Mr. Woodard or Mr. Bailey? Thank you.
One, on personnel, are you in good shape on personnel?
We are short 1 person on 1 shift. Got a potential applicant coming in next week to sit down and talk with us. So hopefully he'll be interested in staying, and we'll put him on board and we'll be back to full staffing. We've had a couple issues. We've had several positive COVID tests over the last month or so, but we haven't had any real issues with responses or anything like that. So we've maintained everything to our normal response levels.
This might be an off question, but are you all y'all vaccinated?
I couldn't say. I'm not it's
their problem. Okay.
Right. That's kind of their personal.
Okay.
No, I'm vaccinated.
I'm just curious, but that's fine.
Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to just talk about the county siren system. Is that you, Mr. Mayor?
I can take it if Mr. Beatty wants. I think Mr. Beatty had reached out to our Mobile Communications America. That's the system, the group that maintains our system. They came in, looked at it, found some problems. I think some of the lines have been cut and some of the computer needs to be updated and some other issues. And they looked at what it would take to basically get the system up and operating correctly. You should have a quote in your packet you were given. As you can see, there's several items in here. It's basically a good part rebuild of the system, it being so old. But they gave a total quote to go ahead and get it operational. It's $12,440. And I had spoke to Chief Beatty about it, but his opinion that he's here, so I'm just letting him give it. I'm not going to put words in his mouth.
Yes, we had their maintenance man come down and check it out. And he gave us the opinion that its effective range is about a mile and a half from where it sits with the topography of where it sits and kind of down in this little bowl here. We're looking at about a mile of effective range with a warning system. I guess it's kind of my opinion, and this certainly isn't the opinion of everyone, I'm sure, but if we really wanted to do a tornado warning system, we need to do one countywide. I mean, if we're going to affect the population, we shouldn't affect just one small portion of it. So it's kind of a, you know, do we want to invest $12,000 in repairing what we got, or we want to try to look around and see if we can invest that in maybe another form or maybe different types of sirens throughout the county. So I think there's some other options we need to investigate before we decide to repair this one that may or may not really impact that many people. If you look at the last couple of tornadoes that have come through, they've kind of came through the northern portion of the county. So if the siren went off here and notified the people in the middle of town, well, they weren't even the ones that were affected by the tornado. So it was, you know, the people out near Bass Road and out Highway 10 area. So they never would have heard the siren in the first place.
I live out by the elementary school, and when it used to go off, sometime I could hear it, sometime I couldn't. It just depended on what was going on inside the house, and it was very hard to hear. It didn't get out very far. That's not even a mile, I don't guess. Might be by the crow flies, but I just never could hear it real good. I don't know if I would think we ought to spend $12,000, fix that up when we could maybe find something better for the people.
Well, Mr. Chairman, I'm sorry, Mr. Yeah, the county has substantially updated their 911 alert system since then. Example, on March, I think it was March 4th or May 4th, when we had some tornadoes hit, probably the property I live on was hit the hardest, I've been told, by the highway department and the EMA. It touched down about 35, 40 yards south of my house and did a lot of damage there. And probably 3 or 4 minutes before it hit, I got an alert through the county 911 system. I'd went on there and signed up for it. So I would just suggest we probably make better use of trying to make people aware of that system and get notifications out that way than trying to spend something on some of these siren systems, which have limited effective range. And if you're outdoors, you might be able to hear it. If you're indoors, you're probably not going to if you're sitting there with a TV going. But everybody gets those phones, and so you can get text alert, email, and I think they'll even give you a call on an automated system. So I would suggest if we're going to do anything, we try to make the public more aware of that option. I think it's much more efficient, and it's already paid for.
That is what I was going to say. When this was initially put in, we didn't have that system. Now with that system, really it's light years ahead of a audible siren in the middle of town. And it does work very well. That same morning, we got hit very hard ourselves. My phone was blowing up. My wife's phone was blowing up. We knew something, you know, let's head to the basement. And of course, we got down there before it actually hit our house. And so I do know firsthand that system works. It works well, but people have to ask, I think, to have their number added to the system or to make sure that their number's in the system. And I think we would be better spent with this money trying to promote that system and making sure everybody is involved in it.
I agree that would be better. And I'm not on that 911 system. I've just fixed and asked how to get on it, but I'm on Storm Shield Channel 5 and
Just call dispatch and they'll add you to it.
all right.
I think you can actually also sign up through, might be a portal on the county website. You can sign up that way and get alerts, and you can tell them you want to call, you can put in your phone number, and you can also tell them you want text messages or put in email address, and you'll receive emails also. So I think we can do that. And that's something we can push out through Facebook and maybe other methods to try and make the public more aware of that.
Do we need a motion to use maybe this money to promote this, or just promote it through our fine Vidette?
Well, we probably have some money in the budget that we could use for that. If we need to allocate money, then that would need to come back to budget and finance. I don't think that since we're not going to do it, I mean, it doesn't need a motion to do nothing. It needs a motion to do something. But you're the chairman.
Yeah, I mean, we could push it out on our Facebook page too. And I know the sheriff's department's pushed it out on their Facebook page. So I think we can continue to do that throughout the year, just periodically make sure. And I think, the Vidette's probably not a bad option either, since it's online and on Facebook, and a lot of people probably follow it on there.
And Mr. Chairman, there is a function of our website that it's supposed to be on there. We haven't activated it yet. We're still trying to figure out and contact the website company to figure out how we do it. So we can create an email list that people can sign up for, and then they can get all kinds of alerts or information or anything like that. And we can put that on there too. As long as we get these emails built up, we can send that out with a link for they can sign up for this service. Plus pushing social media, maybe get a story or something in the local newspaper, and then just basically word of mouth, trying to get it out that way as well.
Okay, that's what we're talking about. Ambulance purchase.
Yes, sir. We actually traveled up to Indianapolis a few weeks ago and spoke with our vendor there and looked at some different models that they had on display. Two of the models that we've got prices on, one is the Chevrolet. It's going to be the 4500, which when you go to 4500 in Chevy, it goes from a light truck to a medium duty. So you can tell the price reflects that. So it's from what we've got now, and this may be an updated quote as opposed to what I sent you guys out earlier, because just got this one in the other day at $251,143 for the Chevrolet, and for the Ford was $233,826. And that was with a Ford F450. We're also took a look at the Dodge, and I don't have a quote for it, but it's about $11,000 more than the Ford. So the Ford came in as the lowest, but and the Chevy is the highest. Chief Carmen spoke with a couple different departments that have the Chevrolet 4500, and it's got being the medium duty truck, it's a really stiff chassis, and they weren't real pleased with the comfort. It's really stiff, so it, every bump and everything, you really feel it, which isn't terrible for the crew members. But if you're in the back with a fractured leg, it's a little less comfortable. The Dodge is about $11,000 more than the Ford. They seem to like the Dodge, the way it rides, and the suspension in it. And the Ford, which it just came in as the least at F450, but it was Sumner County's had some injector issues with them with their engine, so it's kind of you want a stiffer, tougher ride but a bigger truck, or do you want a more comfortable ride with maybe I know they've got the Dodge has the Allison transmission and Cummins diesel, so we've got 3 different options to choose from, and they're kind of spec'd out the kind of way we like them right now. We're just kind of weighing our options on which chassis to get.
Yes, sir.
Are the warranties comparable? Are there any difference in warranties on them?
I believe the warranties are all relatively similar. mileage in years.
As far as using dealers, are the dealers all local where you would be taking them for dealer service?
There's the Ford dealer and Chevy dealers are in Lebanon, and the Dodge would be in Gallatin.
Are these gas or diesel?
They're all diesel. Now, from what the rep has said is in the future, you're probably going to see a lot of services going from diesel to gas, a lot of it for maintenance costs and just the fact that they're starting to really phase out diesels and a lot of different options.
And I'm just going to add, with the current ambulances that we have, whenever they have to be serviced over the chassis, we normally have to take them to Shelbyville to have that unit serviced, whether it's the electrical on the back or, you know, something that we can't do here in-house. This new ambulance will actually have a technician that will come to us if need be and service that kind of stuff here on site. And then of course the chassis stuff we would take to the dealerships and things like that.
Is there a charge for that?
That's included in the purchase price. Now, parts and labor, stuff like that may be a little bit additional, but them coming to do it is a part of the purchase.
So which one do you want?
I think we've narrowed it down between the Dodge and the Ford. So we really want to talk to a couple of other agencies before we pull the trigger exactly on which one. So I think the Ford so far is winning the race, but we're going to talk to a couple more agencies that have a Dodge and just get their opinion on it, how they feel about the Dodge, and then we'll be able to pull the trigger on that.
Never have liked a Dodge. But that's all right with y'all. If that's what y'all want, that's. Do we need to wait till next month or before you make your decision on it?
I believe the mayor said it would be this month before the monies would be for sure allocated to different items and stuff. Is that correct?
I have not said when that money is going to be allocated. I just said we received it. As far as allocating it, I'm not going to spend any of it right now until we make sure we comply with that whistleblower policy, because that is a requirement. But right now it's just getting it, seeing what it is. The final rule should be out maybe here in the next couple of weeks. Then we'll see exactly what the expenditures are going to allow are. But I think as long as we can tie it back to the magic words, COVID-19 response, I think we can do that. And a lot of public health stuff seems to be in there. So I think we might be able to use money to purchase this along with some other items they're looking at. But again, they're still trying to do their homework on something, and we're still waiting for that final rule. Once it comes out, then we'll know exactly what we, well, not exactly, but we'll have a much clearer idea of what we can spend it on.
That's kind of what we're waiting on before we really give the go on what we're going to get. So if it's going to fall under that ability to purchase through this grant money, then we'll be able to pull the trigger at that point. So if it's going to be some other way, then we'll weigh a different option.
Okay. We need a motion on that or anything? Not this time. Whose equipment purchase?
So those will be some more equipment purchases that we hope will also come with this COVID money, like the mayor mentioned. One of the things that we're looking at is something our new medical director would like us to see us get, and these are video laryngoscopes. And that's a device we use when we put a breathing tube in somebody, which right now we have some that WEMA gifted us when they replaced the ones that they have. And LifeLight, which obviously Dr. Crook works for Vanderbilt, and he's also a flight physician. And this is what they use, is the McGrath video laryngoscope, and it's one of the nicer ones. So obviously it's fairly expensive. So we're looking to get 4 of them. And the total for that comes out to $9,864.40. And obviously COVID is a respiratory disease, and this here is gives us the ability to treat these respiratory patients a little more easier when we need to intubate one of those and put a breathing tube in place. Another thing we wanted to look at getting was another one of the Lucas CPR devices, like we demoed, I guess, when we had a meeting over at the community center that time. And it's just a automatic chest compression device that, you know, it's got a piston that does chest compressions for you. So it never stops doing chest compressions. And that's probably one of the greatest issues that you run into with a pre-hospital cardiac arrest is, you know, you got to move the person from their house to the ambulance. And anytime you stop chest compressions, and it's not recommended you do it for more than 10 seconds. Well, if you're trying to carry somebody, you don't go very far in 10 seconds. So this is something you can put on them and you can carry them, and it does chest compressions the whole time. And it's a really good device. We've had a lot of good luck with using it, and everybody seems to like it a lot. So that would be another piece of equipment we'd like to see if we could purchase with this money. And finally, another cardiac monitor would round us out, and that would put one on every truck and then one in the supervisor vehicle. And it comes in around $33,161, and that's on par with the last one we purchased. So it would be the same model and same capability.
Why 4 laryngoscopes? I can't say it. We don't have 4 ambulances. Why do we have 4 of them?
We would put one on each truck, one in the supervisor truck, and then have one spare in case one of them were to break or malfunction. We could replace whichever one's not functioning.
I can see them in the ambulances. I don't, you know, look like your spare could be the one that's in the supervisor truck if it needed to pull one to the ambulance. I'm not opposed to it. It just seemed a little overkill.
Yeah, I mean, there are times that both trucks are on calls, and, you know, we have to respond with just that one vehicle. So if we needed to do an advanced airway before another ambulance got there, maybe from another county, or one of ours is returning back in the county, we could go ahead and get some of these things taken care of before the truck got there, would be the rationale behind that.
Any other business?
Well, I think this equipment's necessary if we can use the funds for this. I think until we have a better handle on what we can use it for or not. Mayor, I think, I don't want to speak for you, but you think this would be a good use of those funds?
I think these will. The ambulance, I have heard some local governments are looking to use it for ambulance. Again, if we can find a way to put those magic words in there, a COVID-19 response, I think we can be able to do it. Video learnoscopes, I know I'm not saying it right, but that's close I'm going to get. I think those are almost right on point with something we need. My understanding is those would be very useful if somebody that's having issues with COVID-19. So I think we can tie that to it. Some of the other stuff I got a question on, but then again, until we get the final rule and some other things like that. But most of it, they seem to be pretty liberal as far as letting you use the funds for medical response, as long as you can throw COVID-19 response in there somewhere.
I forgot to ask you, get many runs to the prison now?
We just went on one just a minute ago. We're still, they're starting to transport more of their own, less acute patients by the vans and stuff, which is good, which they should, but we're still fairly steady out there. We're going out there a couple times a week at least. So it's, they're still giving us a call every once in a while.
Okay, I hear I figure that's where you're going most of the time. So. Any other business? Any public comment?
I do have one thing. The Codes Academy, the Fire and Codes Academy down at Bell Buckle, just found out that the director of codes position is being eliminated by the state, or is being talked about being eliminated. and strictly going with a supervisory. I know people in the fire side of things that wouldn't understand why, feel like that shouldn't happen. But prior to that academy being there, the building codes and codes part of it always took a back seat to fire. And that was the first attempt by the state to kind of level that ground. And feel like that it would be very detrimental to lose that supervisory position or that director position, because they did a lot of things as far as putting together programs, off-site programs and things of this nature for codes. And I guess if you get a chance to talk to anybody about it or let them know that you'd like to see that kept the way it is, I think it would be a good thing. I know myself, when I took on that role, it was extremely beneficial to me to be able to go down there and take classes. I know it is for our fire people as well. And I think it needs to try to maintain that program. What happened is the fellow that had done it the last 8 years, Stephen Snow, went on to another job, another position, and somebody just has the right idea to just do away with it. And so like to see us in some way try to, if we have the opportunity to encourage the state not to do that, to keep the position like it is.
Can we send a letter from this commission to be in support of it?
We can. I think it would probably be done before we could ever get that done. This is something that kind of in the process, a few phone calls. Gary Farley mainly is the one I think that's wanting to do this. And I've talked to him. I've talked to our state legislatures about it. We brought it up at the meeting that we were at the other night. And it's one of those things that they're not, how to say it, they're not making it very public, shall we say. I think they're trying to do it without people knowing they're doing it. But just to try to make you aware of it, if you get an opportunity to talk with some of them, try to encourage them to keep that position, because we need that. The state needs that.
I agree. We still do, but I believe we still could send a letter, even if it's late. I mean, if maybe they may have done it, but maybe they might change their mind and change it back. If we get a letter from this commission and other commissioners that we would like to see that stay in.
Probably will have to be done by the legislature. It could be through the fire marshal's office entirely. I'm not sure which way it's going to have to go, but probably through the fire marshal's office, they'll make the decision and won't even bother to tell anybody. And it's just, it's such a great facility for everyone that's been involved with it on the fire side, on the code side. And we need to quit thinking of these two things as separate. They are one entity, and they do mesh more than we want to realize. And I just saw Stephen Snow did, like I said, a lot of off-campus things. So yeah, your classes would go on, I'm sure, like they are, but some of the extended classes and things like that, going to the different meetings of the subgroups like Middle Tennessee Code Officials or East Tennessee, you know, he would always go there and try to promote the academy and answer questions and things of that nature. And if you had just a supervisory position in the academy, you're going to lose that ability for somebody to be out here doing it, because the fire guys are not going to do it. They're going to be doing fire, as they should. And even though if you put it on one of them, they're still firemen. I'd walk into a meeting and they'd say, "You're not a fireman, you have a beard. What are you doing here?" "I'm your code dude." "Oh, okay." So just would hate to see that. That would be a step backwards that was fought hard for years ago to get it to that place, I guess. Hate to see it go backwards. We'll do what we can.
I agree. It would be a step backwards. Any public comment? Hear motion to adjourn? Mr. Book.
Motion to adjourn.
Second? Mr. Ferguson. Meeting is adjourned.